Hello, once again. I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Horror News Radio, the official Gruesome Magazine podcast. And back with me again this week are the scariest, goriest, bloodiest co-hosts on the net. And tonight we're reviewing the film The Devil Below. Yes, a monster movie. How exciting. All right, joining me tonight is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. I'm trapped in my house fighting off the demons of my own mind.
Nah, has nothing to do with the movie, but that's awesome. Good luck. Good luck with all that. All right. Also joining us tonight is podcasting rock star and international cosplay queen, Vanessa Thompson. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I think we should go back. Wherever we're going, we should go back.
Yes. That would have worked out better. That would have worked out better. We want to welcome our guest host, Jeff Mohr, all the way from every other podcast we do. Except for Heroes and Droids. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing good. I'm not going to say anything weird.
That's so weird. All right. Welcome to H&R. We're excited to have you here. So what we're going to do is review the film The Devil Below. We're going to give our first impressions. We're going to chat about the movie for a bit and straighten our ears. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And a monster movie should give us plenty of favorite scenes to choose from. Yes? Yes, it should.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. What film were we talking about? We were talking about The Devil Below, available in select theaters, VOD, and digital, March 5th, 2021. The synopsis says, there is an abandoned place nestled deep in the Appalachian country where the underground coal mines have been ablaze for decades. When a team of researchers try to find out how the fire started, they soon discover something more startling than the mystery that sent them there. They're not alone. Directed by Bradley Parker, written by Eric Sherbarth and Stefan Jaworski. The cast includes Alicia Sands, Aidan Kanto, Zach Avery, Chanaza Uchi, mispronounced that, thank you, Jesse Latourette, with Jonathan Sadowski and my favorite, Will Patton. The one good reason to watch this movie is the Will Patton. Will Patton is awesome. Just saying, if you didn't know who Will Patton was, he's cool. All right, what we're going to do is give our initial thoughts. And since Jeff is our guest, we are going to let him go first. Sir, what did you make? Oh, he says. Jeff, what was your first impression of The Devil Below?
Hey, I like this film. I may be alone, but I enjoyed it. I thought at least for me, the creatures were unique. I kind of liked the setup. I liked the people. I liked the monster. I would have liked to seen the mother monster a little better, but that's okay. It worked for me anyway. I thought the acting was good. Some of the this area that they're in, some of those shots that they had setting it up, I thought were pretty good. I don't know. Most of it takes place in the dark. So you're always trying to see stuff. When I watched it on my TV, I had a hard time seeing some of that. I don't know if it was bandwidth or what, but then I watched it on my laptop and I could see a lot of that stuff a lot clearer. For instance, the monsters, etc. So I thought the monsters were kind of neat.
Monsters were kind of neat.
I enjoyed myself. I had some tension, some breath holding.
Breath holding. Well, that's what some white knuckling, and yeah, that's what a good movie should do. All right, Vanessa, you are up next. What is your first impression of The Devil Below?
Me. So to steal a term from Jeff here, it was very atmospheric. I will say that. And I did like the way that it was shot in the location. I thought some of the scenes that we saw, especially when they're going down to this gated off area, I thought that looked really good and creepy. Having said that, I'm pretty sure they made this movie already, and it was called Silent Hill, and it was a lot better.
No, I don't get it. No, go ahead.
It's just it seems to me I expected a lot more. From the trailer, I was so excited because I kind of thought we might be going in a Tremors direction.
Mhm.
And the creatures aren't that far off from that, but it all felt very flat to me. I felt kind of bored watching it. I didn't ever really feel invested in anybody. I did like our lead female protagonist. She was cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked her a lot, and I liked we definitely didn't get enough Will Patton in there. But overall I was just kind of disappointed. I really, really wanted it to be scarier. And like you were saying, Jeff, I had a hard time seeing a lot of it too. And I don't think that allowed me to appreciate what they were trying to show us with these demons or underworld creatures. Because there's some cool things that they do, and some of the when you're down under there, some of the things that they do were interesting. But I don't know. I wanted more.
Wanted more. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can swing this one back the other direction. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, what was your first impression of The Devil Below?
First of all, I love the poster when it was called Feast. Which, if you look at the poster, it's pretty.
You're
much
not kidding.
Feast.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this film definitely feels like it's sort of like steals from a lot of different places. 1 minute it's like part Silent Hill, part Doom, possibly, to part Alien, to part The Descent, to even a little pinch of cliffhanger thrown in. If you
nice.
When you watch it, you're like, minus Stallone. So it has all those elements in it. But I don't feel like it really fully does it in a way that where I was like Vanessa, where I was fully invested in what was happening. I didn't really like a lot of the characters that came in there. I'm not sure if the guy was actually British or whatever, but it almost felt like a fake British accent, so it kept annoying me the whole time. And a lot of their dialogue was very like didn't really sell me. I mean, I love the main female protagonist, and I do like the concept of it. I do like the concept of some kind of event happens in this place, and there's these people that are protecting it, trying to protect other people from what's in there. And I think also once we find out what it is, it's a little bit sort of different than what we kind of expect,
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that little bit of a twist to it, especially when we have that big reveal, because it almost plays into you thinking it's one thing and it's a little bit different. And I love that aspect of it. And although the creature does feel like a more teethy version of the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, but I think the mother creature is kind of cool. But I mean, how a lot of the different action beats play out are kind of like there's really nothing to it. And then like you have like there's a whole scene involving night vision. It's so bouncy and you can't even see what the heck's going on, and it's kind of annoying. And I think it's okay when you're kind of doing that if the whole film was going to be a certain way. But even then, I'm kind of like I kind of want a little bit more stability to see what's going on. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mess in that respect. And then I got kind of annoyed with characters and stuff, especially the ending. It's like, really, this is how this is going to end. It's like, I almost feel like, oh, I don't want to go back to this movie again if that's how it's going to end. So yeah, I did love certain aspects of it. I love the concept of it. I do love the whole concept of these creatures and these protectors, but I think how these sort of characters that come into play, how it all kind of plays out doesn't work as effectively as what you want. So I think there was a lot of potential for this, but it's not really executed in a way that makes me kind of like really enjoy it. But I did like certain aspects of it, especially when we got more reveals of these creatures and we find out more information about what this is all about, because it's all played out like it's supposed to be some kind of demon portal kind of thing, and the way it plays out, it has a little bit more of an interesting twist and insight to it. That was kind of, oh, that's kind of interesting how that is. So I like that aspect of it, but again, it's one of those things where they had the ammo, but they didn't shoot it properly for me to really feel the impact of what they're trying to shoot for.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here. Vanessa and I did the Gruesome Guide for March, and this was one of the films that we included. The trailer, I was really sold on this movie with the trailer. I was looking forward to it. It looked like a good monster movie. It had Will Patton, come on, and it looked like it had really cool creatures. This could not have been more disappointing. I did not enjoy this. You guys talk about the lead. I thought the actress was good. The character was not. I didn't enjoy any of the characters. I didn't enjoy the monsters. And when it got down into, I also had a hard time watching the film with how dark it was as well. And I was watching it on my computer. I couldn't get it to actually play on the TV because of the screening technology involved with this one always gives me grief. But it just was like, if I have to struggle and squint and scrunch my head to watch the film and try to figure it out, that makes me dislike it in and of itself. Now, there can be cause for that, and you can use it, but I don't think it was intentional with this when it happens. And I absolutely despise this group of characters that are on the, especially the lead guy. Just go away. And she, okay, so she is the most redeeming character, the character played by Lisa Sands, but I didn't like her either. And then we didn't get enough Will Patton to do anything with. And by the time they do the coda ending, I was just like, no, this is stupid. Get away. Go away. This is going to be a landmark disappointing film for me this year. I really, really dislike this film.
I don't necessarily disagree. I wasn't trying to bash it so hard because I was trying to be nice to Jeff.
He just brings me on to like movies everybody else hates.
But I'm was
serving a purpose.
No, I was super disappointed in the creature design. Nothing felt original or unique to me in this. So much so that we just watched another movie that also took place in Appalachia, and had weird things going on. And that movie, with its faults, I feel like is still better than this one, and the story that it told. I didn't understand where they were going or what they were doing the whole time. And I don't mean like the reason that they're there. I mean, in how they put the movie together. There was so many, like at one point it feels like found footage, and I just
not good found footage.
No, it was very disjointed for me, and I had trouble paying attention. And that first 30 minutes, why? It was just 30 minutes of filler of nothing, and that's just so like dragging.
Yeah, the guy just being like a sexist asshole, like, do you know where you're going? And it's like, how long do we have to deal with this? But I mean, I think
hired her.
Well, and I think the thing is, like, I love the, to say something positive, I love the concept of it, but it's not really pulled off in the right way. Like, it seemed like, and the whole, I mean, the found footage part involved in night vision made Blair Witch seem like it was on a tripod. But then it's like they didn't have confidence in their in scene stuff to where like, oh, we need to make them so they're all drugged up, so it's all blurry, so you can't really see anything properly. And to me, that just shows like, did they not like feel like the effects looked good enough for them to show that? Because that just seems kind of a lazy way to go about it. I mean, it's kind of, for a while there, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then it's like,
I didn't hate that. I wish they would have developed that more, right? Or used that more, shown it in a different kind of way. It has little things in it that work, but that just aren't enough. And
it didn't really, and the way that plays out, it wasn't very well orchestrated for me, you know. And then the little thing after that felt like, oh, we knew that they mentioned this in dialogue. So this scenario is going to happen again. Cliffhanger. And then we see that and I'm like, oh yeah, this is where to go. But I don't know. I did like the the creation of what these monsters are supposed to be. I like that aspect of it. And it's kind of a disappointment that wasn't really effectively delivered in a way that kind of made sense. So, and I love the protectors, the Will Patton stuff. I kind of wish they had more of that involved with everything. But then we had to follow these sort of like highfalutin, you know, intelligent types, you know, that you don't really care about as much, to where and the main female protagonist, she's great, but I think she's only great because she's surrounded by all these dummies.
That's what I would say.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, it just felt a disappointment because there's so much potential there. There's so much potential. And I like the idea of it, to where we play it out a certain way and we found out it's a little bit different than what our expectations were. But
well, Christopher, you'll be happy to know I pulled a Christopher G. Mohr on this film, where I got stuck in the logic. I was like, okay, I couldn't get past that the people that are trying to protect them are above ground and everything is subterranean. How are these stopping them from getting anywhere they want when they can, you know,
to dig holes
anywhere they want?
Well, that's
like, I'm calling bullshit. I'm just calling bullshit.
Well, but a mining operation opened up the holes.
A sinkhole, right?
It was a sinkhole. So they opened up these holes in the ground.
They can't dig up that far, I guess.
They never showed any digging capability that I saw.
Yeah.
They were
these natural caverns.
Oh, but they did that. He did that whole thing about coal seams starting on fire and creating sinkholes.
Yeah. Well, they do have the ability to build rafts.
I was going to say
that's not digging.
I think these. Yeah, okay.
But like, didn't it stretch out of the hole and grab?
It did crazy things.
They climbed up. The
point is I got stuck in that logic and I just couldn't let it go.
Yeah, well, a lot of times
there you go, thinking too much again.
When you get stuck in that sinkhole of logic, it's hard to crawl out of.
Well, we got to let Jeff talk. Jeff has been very patient and quiet, and you can just see the names he's calling us behind those eyes. What are we missing? What are we missing, Jeff? What did you like? Tell us, please.
I thought I learned to hide that.
No, never did.
Well, this will be the only thing that really bothered me. That they always do that. I mean, there's always a crew of people, and there's always a couple of really unlikable characters. Especially in this one, it was Terry, who was the guy in the back of the Jeep that was always yelling at him. But luckily, well, I guess I shouldn't give too much away. I kind of like the guy, Jamie. I thought he was okay guy. But the thing that bothered me was when there's a place where they leave one of the protectors. They just leave them. And I'm like, what? I mean, if anybody's going to have any sympathy for you at all, just, throw the guy in the back. What's the big deal? That was the one. That was really the only thing that really bothered me. Seriously, you guys keep harping on this found footage stuff. That was so short. If that was more than like 90 seconds, I would be shocked. I mean,
but that's how distracting it was, Jeff.
It was
distracting. It didn't. No. I mean, I guess you haven't watched enough found footage movies.
Well, there was a lot of shaky camera work. There was a lot of handheld camera work throughout all of it.
I didn't get that. I didn't have any problem with it. It wasn't something I noticed. So I liked the creatures. I liked the story of the protectors. I liked how at first they seemed like sort of, prejudice against outsider hillbillies, that were being assholes. And they turn out to be, they actually have a noble intent. I kind of like that. And these guys that come in, Yeah, I mean, is it a cliche to have somebody who claims he's there for science and now he's not? He's there for money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I think,
every monster movie ever.
Although I did laugh out loud because the guy's explaining what a sinkhole is, like it's a technical term that layman's don't know what that is. And I'm like,
what that is.
Everybody knows what a sinkhole is. Why are you having to explain this to people?
Yeah. He had to get the coal seams in there to fit it into this
There you go.
scenario, I think. But I anyway, I enjoyed it. I thought there was good scenes of tension. I like the creatures. I guess I didn't notice the shaky camera. Yeah, the night vision thing was pretty jerky. But I dug the creatures, and I would have liked to have seen the mother creature a little clearer, but I was okay with it. I saw just enough clear. You know, there was a couple spots where things cleared up that I could tell what was going on, and see it better and go, oh, what the is this thing? So anyway, did they explain everything? Do we know everything about those creatures? No, we don't. But how would we? Nobody is.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just mentioned something about like replicating or something like that.
Yeah,
like ants.
Yeah, that actually I liked. I liked when the one guy is like, you know, they're more like a hive and they're ants. And
yeah,
stuff.
that was my. I mean that mythology around him and stuff I thought was really interesting.
He's been sitting down there paralyzed watching them.
Yeah, because it easily could have just been a bunch of faceless monsters like, you know, like Doom or any of these things where they just come out of a hole and fighting and stuff. I did like that there was a certain aspect of it to where they're making all these monster babies and they're trying to feed the mom and stuff. I like that aspect of it. But
came a little late for me, but I did like it.
Well, yeah. So where they're just people are being dragged off.
Yeah, there was a lot of pussyfooting around trying to get there, but I liked the people protecting it better. There was when they were together and in that hut, which lasted for like another 90 seconds. That I was more interested in that group of people and that dynamic than the rest of it. It would have been nice if they didn't separate again so quickly, and that could have happened. I would have enjoyed it more if that would have happened a lot sooner, and what happened after that was, you know, a little bit more fleshed out and give us a little more details.
I think for me it would have been more interesting if it'd been like your normal, like a bunch of teenagers or adults went camping or whatever and got caught up in it, and then they had to come in and be these sort of saviors and help them out and stuff. I think that would have been more interesting because I was more interested in the protectors than I was of these intelligent people coming in and doing their thing.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is I don't know if I could tell you anything about any of them except for the character Alicia Sands played, and I'm not even sure.
Well, there's one guy that believes in science, and another guy believes in the supernatural. So
and that went over my head. And also, what is the time frame? What is the time? When does this movie take place? Because they say that it disappeared in the 70s. But if it's now and Will Patton was there in the 70s, and he wouldn't be Will Patton, he'd be dust. What is going on here? I don't.
Well, they did try to cover up his face, stuff around him, I guess, to make him look younger.
But not from the 70s to 40 years later. He was already. They didn't age him.
I didn't have a problem with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I just figured it was stuff that had been going on for a long time.
But yeah,
they said they had cell phones, right?
Which one?
Well, they the scientists.
Oh yeah.
Didn't have a signal.
So it couldn't. So it couldn't have been. You know, it couldn't. There's no. If the town disappeared in the 70s, and that's where this took place, and we see them active in the beginning of this film, then that means they're in the 70s.
Well, okay. I got to go back and look at it. Did you watch
the 70s now?
No, not now. Yeah. But the story at the beginning.
Yeah, it said it closed in 78 or something like that.
Right. So.
Well, maybe he bought it and resurrected it, Mr. Shookham.
Well, that and nowadays you could just pull it up on Google Maps and know that it's there. So
Yeah.
For them to know that like it doesn't exist. Nobody knows if it exists or not. There's going to be a big mine
Unless
hole
Google
on Google Maps.
on it, too.
It's a big mine
I
hole.
mean, I found a Five Nights at Freddy on Google Maps.
You can find
It said it was
anything.
closed, but somebody put there.
Well, that's true.
That's so funny.
Oh my! All right. Well, I think yeah, this is fun. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene, which there are actually scenes to choose as favorite scene. But before we do, if you're still listening, thank you so much. We hope you're enjoying us review these films and have enjoyed some other ones as well. If you want to help us out, it's easy to do and it's free. You just have to hit the subscribe button or share with a friend. That's all you got to do, and it helps us out immensely. If you want to get more involved, though, hit the like button, dislike button, or the bell to get reminded, and leave some comments. When you see this film, and we know you will, let us know what you think. We also want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons who, without their patronage, we would not be able to do not only H&R, but the Gruesome Magazine podcast, Decades of Horror, and Heroes and Droids. And we're doing WandaVision on Heroes and Droids right now. That is kind of insane and a lot of fun. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Oh, my. I kind of wish I'd left Jeff for the last now. Jeff, you're up first. What is your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene?
All right. Does this have faults? Of course it does. But I enjoyed it. I liked that. There's another kind of trope that bothers me, is that for some reason people that live in small towns in West Virginia never wash. I guess.
Well, I think this is Kentucky, though, isn't it? Maybe
oh, maybe wherever it was. But either way, it was. They all look like they just walked out of spending the day working in the mine, in the coal mine, but I did enjoy the overall story, where there's some unlikable characters, yeah. But I thought the acting was okay, and I liked Alicia Sands' character. Was she a little bit, or maybe even a lot, stereotype or cliched? Yeah, she was almost like a superhero type. We don't mince words, we just get it done kind of thing.
She earned her money. Let's put it that way.
What's that?
Her character earned her money.
Yes. But I liked her. And she did have a little bit of background that worked, like the creatures. So I don't know. I don't need to repeat all this stuff again. I'm giving this a 3.5, and I'm going to pick for my favorite scene. I'll pick when mommy has dinner.
Yeah, I like that. If you see the movie, you know what Jeff's saying. All right, Vanessa, you are up next. What is your final thoughts? What is your score? What is your favorite scene?
Final thoughts. I'm sorry, Jeff. I didn't like this movie at all. I was super disappointed because I was so excited from the trailer when we watched that. I just expected more, and it was kind of it just felt very flat the whole time, for me at least. Now, I did like our female protagonist, Alicia Sands. I thought it was cool that she was kind of like a female badass indie in a way, but without the treasure hunting for herself. I liked that. I thought that was cool. I thought, the where they are outside, I thought those shots looked great. The way they had that set up, it really set a good atmosphere for me. I don't know. There's a lot of things that just needed to be tightened up, and I think it would have felt a lot better while I was watching it. So with that being said, I'll do my favorite scene first. So earlier I said my favorite part of the movie was the end, and that was kind of a joke, and not because as much as y'all trashed it, I really liked the end between Will Patton and Alicia Sands.
Oh no.
I did, because I like that idea. I like the two of them together, little adventure team, like fighting off these underground alien demon guys or whatever they are. Like that's a fun idea to me, and yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't hate that. And so that made me want more. So maybe we'll get another one where we'll see them having a little bit more fun this time around. But I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it a 2 because I don't want to go lower than 2.
Two. Oh,
well, Chris won't worry about hurting my feelings.
You really wanted to go lower, man. I can see it in your face. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scenes for The Devil Below.
Yeah, I mean, this has a lot of the different elements from a lot of cool horror films. I do like the concept of it. I think that's very interesting. There's some really great scenes just involved with the thought behind these people finding this supposedly portal to hell and these creatures that live within it and these protectors. I love that aspect of it, and I there's elements of it I wish could have been more expanded a little bit more. But I just didn't like these group of people that went out there that kind of sucked the juice out of the film for me, to where I wasn't really as invested in it as I'd like. But I think once we got a little bit more reveal about these creatures, especially when we get inside their home underneath the earth, that got a little bit more interesting for me. And I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of it, but then I feel like in the process of them trying to be all artsy or maybe trying to hide seams in the monsters or something, they had to put a lot of blurry stuff, and I kind of wanted to see more of it. But I'd love to see more of that world, and maybe if they did a sequel after this and we followed the Will Patton character and the lady character, maybe that might be more interesting story.
The devil's still below.
Yes.
Yeah.
Further below.
The devil got blown up. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably will give it a 2 as well. I think there's just so much potential, but it wasn't really done in the right way that makes it as entertaining as what it could be. But I think there's elements I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool, but then it was like, that didn't work out so well. And then some of the characters, their dialogue kind of annoyed me. Although there was one piece of dialogue the one part that actually made me laugh out loud, because there's a part where the girl character, she's like, the guy's like playing with her knife. And she's like, don't touch my knife. I don't like people touching my stuff. And the guy's like, I feel the same about my PlayStation. And I actually laughed out loud watching that, because I was like, that sounds like
And
something
she
I
says,
would.
no, you don't.
Yeah,
No, you don't. Yeah, she says, no, you don't. And
Yeah.
and I that sounds like a line I would say. So I think there's some nice places in the film, and I think I almost feel like that there's a way to take some of those elements and tell them a story. But the whole mythology around the monsters is kind of cool, kind of interesting. I haven't seen that as much in some of these type of films, because it almost has that, almost like if you had The Descent, but you had more of an explanation of how those creatures operate underneath the earth. But it just didn't work for me as much as I wanted it to, especially once we learn more about the monsters. I think favorite scene is probably where, without giving away too much, is where she gets knocked out and she wakes up on this raft with the monster. And it's almost like the River Styx type scene.
Yes.
And that I was like, ooh, this is cool. But then just how some of the stuff plays out, I was like, oh, not so cool. So that's probably my this is me throughout the whole film. Ooh, aw, ooh, I was like a Muppet by the end of it. But yeah, that's probably my favorite scene is the raft scene. Sorry to steal your thunder, Doc.
You did. You stole my scene. That was like one of the cool things. I was like, well, that's different. I like it. I didn't like anything else. I did not like this movie. Okay, it's got Will Patton. Will Patton's always great. I like Will Patton, even when he's just in a bad movie like this. I like Will Patton. I don't like anything else. Maybe it's made. I mean, it's professionally made, right? I mean, there's it's not like a garbage movie. You know, we've seen a lot of movies where, woof, you guys don't know how to position a camera, you don't know how to light scene. You know, everything like that is well done. Even some of the ones we're complaining about, you know, in and of themselves, they're fine. It's just the context in which they're shoved in that really is jarring, to be honest. I just was let down by this movie. I did not care for any of the characters, so that's a big problem. That's been a problem with a lot of the films here in the first couple months of this year, is that the ones that haven't worked, it's mainly because you don't care for the characters. You don't care if they live or die or what situation. You don't get, you know, the conflict is just superficial and not invested and not doesn't have any depth to it. I think it was meant to. I just don't think it came across that way. So I was let down quite a bit. I was really frustrated at times, either can't see it or with how they chose to present it. There's a scene that was one of the favorite scenes that is probably could have been one of my favorite scenes, but ended up being one of my least favorite scenes because of that. That really frustrated me because it could have been so cool. All right, so now I got to choose another favorite scene and my score. My score is a 1. I don't like this movie.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't like this movie. This has been a rough week for me. This movie really rubbed me the wrong way. And
Doc gets irrational about movies every once in a while.
I'm not used to this. I feel like it's the end of the world when he goes.
No.
When he's the bad cop. That always worries me.
He's right.
But it was just, I was too afraid to give it a 1.
Do it.
So my favorite.
Okay, Emperor.
I know, it's hilarious.
Yes.
So my favorite scene. Okay, here's one that at one point, for whatever stupid effing reason, our protectors are all gathered around this shut off doorway to the thing, not the sinkhole where we've been at, but another random entrance. I think the entrance that we saw at the beginning, and it's boarded up, and you know it's moving, and the gates are thing, everything's happening, and you get the idea that, you know, these creatures are back behind it. Kind of dug that. It had that Walking Dead, you know, Dead Inside feel to it, and it was interesting. It was totally didn't make a lick of sense in the context of the movie, in my opinion. And it's followed up in conjunction with our lead, who had just gotten out, right? And she hides in like an excavator turned sideways. It looked like that's what it was to me. And you know, one of the creatures walks by, and I thought that was interesting, and one of the more tense scenes for me. So I'll go with that. But I really dug that boat for the reason that it made absolutely no sense. And what was in the water? I don't know. I don't care. It was cool.
It's one of those creatures from Star Wars, I guess.
You know, it was
like the trash compactor monster.
Or that thing.
Well, in that scene you're talking about, Doc, they were playing the creature calls over the loudspeakers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They were drawing them there.
So they were trying to draw them out.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Okay.
All right. Apologies to everybody involved.
Doc has turned into one of those monsters.
I'm gonna get you.
All right, there you go.
I'm gonna get you rotten.
That's our review for the Double Below. Please leave your comments for us. Let me know how wrong I am. I want to hear it because I tend to be wrong a lot.
It's not going to be on my top 10, that's for certain. I just enjoyed it.
I have a feeling I'm going to be talking about this one at the end of the year. Damn it. I have to remember this movie for 8 months.
I'm sure
or 10 months. That makes me angry. But usually that's what happens in January and February. All right, there you go. Let's wrap this up. Vanessa, Christopher, thank you as always. And Jeff, I am so happy you're here to join us as guest host. It was a blast having you here. I didn't
You're welcome.
mean
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. No.
Didn't mean to be so one-sided and
we needed an angel amongst all the devils in this review.
Yeah, here's your halo.
Yes, the angel. Here we'll do this.
You should really talk to my You should really
the angel
talk
above
to
and the devil's below. All right. Before we get too silly, we should get out of here. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, everybody.